Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Inside Guns with your host, me, the Yankee Marshal. Tonight, I want to address a question I received from one of my viewers in a live chat the other night. They were referring to the shooting that just occurred in the mall in Boise, Idaho, and they said the thing that surprised them is that there were no good guys with guns there to shoot back at this shooter. Well, I want to address that question, because this isn't coming from an anti-gunner who's like, well, being sarcastic, why weren't there any good guys with guns there? This is from someone who is a pro to a person wondering legitimately, in a place like Idaho where there's lots of people who carry guns, why wasn't there someone there to stop this? And, well, there's multiple reasons for this. I don't know why I said and there, but there are multiple reasons for this. The first of which is, when these situations happen, they usually happen very quickly and they happen in a very isolated area. I lost a friend, we lost a family friend, to the shooting at the mall here in Oregon years ago. And it happened very quickly. If you watch the films from when it happened, the security cameras, etc., it was over with like that. A lot of times there might be people in the mall that are carrying that could have intervened, but they're not right where they would need to be, right when they need to be there. That's actually something, shooters try to make sure is happening. They try to go to places where people aren't supposed to carry, like the mall, schools, places like that. And they try to do what they're going to do very quickly so that people don't have time to fight back. So often, like I say, even in places like Boise, Idaho, where probably a lot of people do carry, I can very easily see where there was no one right there at that moment who could respond, simply because a lot of people are probably not in that exact area. Also, it's a mall. I don't know about a lot of people out there, but I know a lot of people who actually do carry won't go to malls because they don't like the fact that a lot of the stores don't let you carry. So they just avoid them. They see them as that's a dangerous area. That's an area that bad guys consider a soft target. I don't want to hang out at soft targets. So I'm not going to go there. So a lot of times people who would carry, who would normally be there and maybe fight back, aren't there out of principle. They just don't want to be there. And also, there's another thing. Maybe there were people there that were armed and could have fought back. But they're like, crap, I'm in the mall, armed, it's illegal. I don't know that it's illegal in Boise, Idaho. I'm not saying this was the case there. I'm just talking about general circumstances. There's people in malls when things like this do happen. I was in a mall once when a shooting occurred. We were actually leaving the mall. We had just exited as we heard the gunshots. And I was like, well, someone's doing something they're not supposed to do because they got a gun in the mall. You're not supposed to have a gun in the mall. So a lot of times maybe there is a good person in the mall with a gun, but they're like, I don't want to get caught in the mall with a gun, lose my license and my right to carry a gun. So they might not intervene for that reason. But the main reason why I think people don't intervene in situations like this, especially in the Boise, Idaho situation, is because it's not their business. It's not their responsibility. I know a lot of people love to do this, woof, woof, I'm a sheepdog, woof, 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 bullshit. But the people who bark the loudest about that shit, let me tell you one thing about these people. They're the first people that piss their pants and hide in the closet when something happens. Because people that have ever really faced the shit, they know. If things go down, if I'm in the immediate vicinity and the life of a child or something is at stake, yeah, I might intervene. But generally speaking, if I hear gunshots at the mall, my first obligation is get my family out if I have family with me. My second obligation is to still be there later to support my family. And the vast majority of gun owners feel this way, whether they say it or not. Like when we had the shooting here in Oregon, there was a guy who claimed he shot back and that's what stopped the attacker. Then later, and a lot of the gun channels pumped that up and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I don't think that happened because I'm here in the area. I know one of the victims. I've talked to people that were there. They didn't see anybody shoot back or hear anybody shoot back. And then the surveillance video came out, and the police were like, yeah, it seems like that story's not true. And it turns out that the guy who claimed he shot back basically hid behind a pole and then ran. So didn't shoot back. He drew his gun, hid behind a pole, and then ran away. And I'm not saying that he was obligated in any way to get involved, but don't try to be a hero if you actually didn't get involved. But his first instinct was, get the hell out of here. And he did. And like I say, I don't blame him for my friend's death because he didn't intervene. It's not his responsibility to intervene. Why wasn't my friend armed? Why wasn't the person sitting there with her armed? That might have given them a chance because they weren't the first person shot. So that's more what I say. Why weren't they armed? It's their responsibility to protect themselves, not his. Same thing with me. It's not my responsibility to protect you at the mall. If I'm in the mall with my kid, I hear gunshots at the other end. I'm taking my kid out this end as quickly as I can, the nearest exit I can. I don't care if it's a maintenance only exit. I'm getting my kid out of there. Even if I don't have my kids with me, I'm going to be able to go home that night to my kids. I'm going to see them graduate. I'm going to see them have babies in the future because that's my number one priority, not some stranger. And that's how most gun people feel. And it's actually, to me, the most logical thing. Because like I say, all these people who wolf and bark and say, I'm a sheepdog, I'll run right in. And no, you wouldn't. The people who, like I say, crow the loudest are the biggest cowards usually. So I don't like those people. I don't like that whole sheepdog mentality. Of course, if we're in a situation where things are bad, us being able to defend our own lives might save other lives. Like I always like to say, if you're in a bad situation, say you're pinned down during a shooting, like we've seen many times, like people that are texting from bathrooms, like, oh my God, there's a shooter and we can't get out, and blah, blah, blah. If one of you was armed, you could take him out. And not only would you be protecting yourself, you'd probably save others. That's a big thing. But like I say, it isn't your obligation. Your obligation is if you can survive and get away, get away. If I'm at the mall and a guy runs in and shoots two people and I get away, they had every opportunity to fight back if they'd been armed. Like it gets them, especially after they've been huddled somewhere. That's on them, not me. And I think a lot of gun owners feel that way. So that's why you didn't see someone step up at the Boise, Idaho thing. Like I said, happened quickly. Maybe the person wasn't in that immediate vicinity. And maybe if they were there, they were like, not my responsibility. My responsibility is just me and mine. And their responsibility is to them and theirs. So they don't intervene right away. And plus they also might, like I said before, be worried if I intervene, I'm basically admitting I've got a gun in a restricted space, which in my state might be a felony, and I might lose all my rights, blah, blah, blah. So they got that thing too. So I am not the least bit surprised a good guy did not step up there. I mean, it is not that uncommon for good guys to step up. Like in that church shooting where the guys got their rifles and ran after the bad guy. That way they're taking an offensive position, going after him. That's a different story. When you're in a space where you're not expecting anything and bullets start flying, you're not in an offensive situation. At that time, you're in a defensive situation. And it's time for you to get to safety. Once you get to safety, if you're in a situation where, hey, I am now safely and under cover, I have a position that I can use to advantage, and this guy's still doing what he's doing, well then take your shot. But first make yourself safe. Because you sacrificing yourself doesn't do any good. And plus, like I said, my obligation is protect me and my family. Your obligation is protect you and your family. I don't ask you to protect me, and I don't believe you should expect me to protect you. And that's just the reality of the world. So there are times when good guys with guns step up all the time. But in situations like this, it's not the norm, and nor should it be, in my opinion. Because like I said, I'm not my brother's keeper, and he's not mine. It's my responsibility to defend myself, and it's your responsibility to defend yourself. All right, everybody, with that said, I want to move on to my favorite part of the show, gun talk. And today I want to talk about two models from Staccato, formerly known as STI, but they have changed their name to Staccato. I'm sure because medical associations have started calling STDs STIs, so I'm pretty sure they didn't want their firearms to be associated with the word STI. So they are now staccato. I've owned them when they were STIs. I've owned them now that they're staccato. And I love their products. But I want to talk about two very specific guns. The C and the C2. And I want to clarify some things to people that have asked me questions in live chats and asked me about certain guns, whether I recommend them or not. A lot of times people will ask me about the staccato C. Do I recommend it? And I always say, no, I don't. Not a big fan of it. To me, it's just a regular compact 1911 because it is single stack. It just has a polymer frame, which is something grip frame, which is something I'm not going to be into unless it has some other value to it. And it doesn't have the interchangeable grip frames, or at least it didn't when it first came out. In fact, it said in the manual, if you took the grip frame off, you've invalidated the warranty on that gun. So I've never been a fan of the C. That's their little carry gun, the little very small. It's the smallest one they make. But sometimes people will ask me about the C2, and I might mishear them and think they say the C, and I'm like, yeah, I don't like it. But if I don't know, pay attention and read that they actually said C2, which I'm not that good at reading in the chat because I have to read the questions, and I can't see where the damn without my glasses. So sometimes I make a mistake. But the C2 is a totally different beast. The C2 is a small gun, but it's double stack. It does have a removable grip frame. Can be replaced. In fact, these guns are very similar. If you look at them side by side, you're going to see that there's a little difference, though. One of them is a little bit longer. The C2 is just a hair longer, not even enough to really mention. Now, the C2 is taller also, so you will notice a difference in height. It's about a half an inch, a little over half an inch taller, almost 0.6 inches taller. It's also thicker. Now, you would expect it to be thicker because it is double stack. The difference is only, though, like a quarter of an inch. It's not a really big difference as far as thickness is concerned. And believe it or not, the C model, which is the carry single stack model, has the beveled back end and everything. It's actually a little heavier. I'm not sure why. I'm thinking it's maybe because the C model, I don't know if it still comes in just a regular gun or if it only comes in the one cut for an RMR with the heavier plate and bigger rear sight. Because if that's the case, that's probably the difference in weight because it's like an ounce and a half. Whereas you can get the C2 still with just a regular top, not cut for an RMR, which would make it lighter than the RMR cut one because it does have that bigger plate and that bigger rear sight. And I think if you measured that one, maybe they might be closer to each other as far as weight is concerned. But like I said, I don't really know what makes the difference in weight. But the biggest difference, of course, is that one is single stack, one is double stack. The C, it comes with 3 8-round magazines, 9mm. The C2 comes with 3 16-round magazines, twice as many rounds. Not quite twice once you do the +1 for each one of them, but still, the magazines themselves hold twice as many rounds. So the C2 is, in my opinion, a much more desirable gun. I would love to get one of the C2s. I wouldn't own the C. It doesn't interest me at all. I can understand where it interests other people, and I'm sure it's a really high-quality gun. The only difference between the guns I've had from them and these ones is these ones actually have an aluminum receiver. I believe the receiver is aluminum and the slide is steel. Makes them a little lighter for carry. So, and I'm fine with that. But I think the one I have is all steel frame and slide at all because I have the the compensated one. But the C2, like I said, totally different gun than the C. The C is a single stack, made for concealability, even has, like I said, the carry cut on the grip, everything. That gun is designed to conceal and to be as concealable as possible. The C2 is designed to still be concealable and be relatively small, but to be double stack. And that is that big advantage of that polymer grip frame. And that's why I'm like, yeah, with the polymer grip frame on the double stack, love it. I'm all for it. In fact, like I said, I'd love to be able to buy one. And I don't know if they're going to offer the grip frames in colors again like they used to. Because you used to be able to get red and blue and beige and, all kinds of different colors. If they did that again, I would love to have the C2 with a blue grip to go with my Nightwing theme. And then I could just have like laser etched onto the frame or the back or something, the little Nightwing logo. Or maybe have it laser etched on the slide. I wouldn't want to do that. I won't mess the slide up because then I might have to sell that gun someday and no one wants my nerdy bullshit on it. But that's what I wanted to talk about these two guns for, because like I said, I wanted to compare them for people that have had questions for me about these two guns. And I wanted to clarify that why I sometimes say no when someone says something about a staccato C. That's because they're talking about the original C. And like I said, just doesn't bring enough to the table to make it worth it over a lot of other 1911s in that same category. But the C2, totally different gun. It's a 2011 double stack. So, and it's in a compact size. So that one to me is very desirable. I would love to own one of those. If you own either of these, you own a great gun. But the C2, that would be the one for me. So those are the differences, and that's why I sometimes say no, because it's a Model C, and sometimes I say hell yeah, because it is the double stack C2. All right, everybody, I've gone over on time tonight. Surprise, surprise. Before I go, though, I want to remind everyone that we are doing the Veterans Day giveaway still. So if you want to nominate a veteran to win an AR come Veterans Day, go on over to tympistolproject.com. There's a link in the upper corner of this video. Go to the section on the page that says Nominate a Veteran. Fill out the information there and submit that. And then we will do the drawing on Veterans Day, and an AR-15 will be given away that was built and donated by Storm & Norman Gunworks. So go on over, nominate someone, and wait until Veterans Day to see if they won. And with that being said, I want to sign off tonight. Not as I usually do. I want to sign off a little differently, because that big long sign off I've been doing every night, I believe every word of it, but I fuck it up all the time. Almost every night I end up doing that like 5 to 10 times before I get it all right. So from now on, I'm just going to sign off by saying, everyone out there, I'll see you again tomorrow. Until I see you, remember, always carry and stay safe until I do see you again.